So hey again, everybody. Um, so today's video will be a tiny bit longer, but not too much. Um, I wanted to talk about so from a reseller perspective, I made a list of things that resellers can be selling now that should make a great profit. And I took some of these from things that I have been selling really well as some of the suggestions that I've seen from some of you online in my Facebook groups and my Posh groups, etc. So I wanted to kind of create a bigger list. If you have others that are selling well that you're willing to share with the rest of the reselling community, please put them in the comments. I'd love to see comments. And I know I still don't have that many viewers yet. I'm pretty sure it's still just my sister, but but that's okay. We'll get there. So anyway, but the other thing I wanted to mention is that I have not looked at the latest numbers for the virus and where science says that how long it can last. I did read not only in national news, but also an actual article, kind of more scientific article, talking about how long the virus lived on the Princess cruise line. And it was, up to like 17 days, I think it said. So that's what they know so far. Now, I haven't dug real deep into that, but what concerns me is what we're learning, and by we, I mean globally, right? We're learning how long the virus lasts on objects as well as packages in the air, that it's transmitted not just by droplets, but just by being in the air, things like that. So we really are at risk, so many of us, especially our hospital teams and our packaging teams. I mean, our USPS folks and UPS and FedEx folks, I'm worried, so please take as much precaution as you're able to take right now. And I've said before, I know that some people think I'm overreacting about this, but just from watching the numbers that I've been watching them go up, I am worried. And at the end of this, if I'm wrong, folks can come back and tease me and give me a hard time about it and be like, oh, remember that time you made a video about the pandemic and it turned out not to be that bad? Well, fantastic. You go ahead and I will gladly take it like a champ. But for right now, the numbers are pretty worrisome. India, as of this morning, I believe, issued a stay-at-home order in which they are actually locking apartment gates and things like that, and people can only come out to get medicine and potentially food. And that is for over 1 billion people. Can you imagine? So this feels like something that we really ought to be paying attention to and, being careful. At the same time, so many of us are trying to just pay our bills, and I know that we've got to keep doing that. So, which is why I kind of created a big list. And I hope that some of you will add more to the list, because I know there's tons more. I gave it a quick hour of thought. I'm sure that, we can throw more at this. But the secondary part of this is that we also have to, if you are quarantined because someone near you tested positive, you're not just self-isolating, right? Like you're quarantined for 14 days or however long it is. Please do not send out packages during this time. Please just hold off until your time is up and you've been given the clear go ahead, because really it just puts our postal workers and our other package delivery people at risk, and then they bring it back to other people. My older boy he does delivery for one of the big package delivery services. And I worry about that. He's currently living in my house for the time being, and I worry about him bringing it home to me. And I'm the person in our house that has to worry about that. So I know what to do if I get it, but that doesn't mean that it will end well for me. So we'll see. But he's got to have a job, so I get his point too. But we need to do whatever we can to keep people as quarantined as they need to be when they're trying to also work their jobs. This isn't easy for anyone. So that said, about packages, on the receiving end, if you are receiving packages, science still indicates that it is okay to receive packages. However, you should give cardboard boxes a bit of a timeout. Let them sit for a day or two. If you cannot let them sit on an outside porch, if it's likely to snow or rain where you're at, try to put them inside while wearing gloves or something. Put them inside off to the side where no one's going to touch them or brush up against them, and just let them sit for a little period of time. After that period of time, it should be safe to go ahead and open them. I personally would dispose of the box afterwards. I would also clean up with Clorox or something, if it's possible, the item inside. If it's clothing or something like that, I would honestly, even if it's clean, even if it's brand new, throw it in the washer and wash it. And I would probably wash it on sanitize mode. And again, I might be overreacting, So just take the advice that you feel like you can use and throw away the rest of it. But I'd rather see people be overly cautious and everyone be safe than someone lose a grandma or a grandpa or, a small baby or something like that just isn't prepared to deal with this. So anyway, so that said, so I've got a list of things here that I have noticed are selling very well. And one last thing, I'll throw it in there. I meant to add this and I forgot. Amazon right now is backed up. They're basically not doing, they're trying to stick to what seems to be essential purchases. So sometimes, now some people can order and get away with ordering things that are non-essential, and there's no problem. But for other people, they've placed orders for non-essential things, and they've been given like a 4 to 6 week turnaround time. They're not going to receive their item for 4 to 6 weeks, which has a lot of people turning to eBay, which is why I'm making this video. So there is an opportunity there. I would love to see people making some money who are just trying to pay their bills and do this for their families during this time when a lot of people cannot be working and can't be in their office and be paying their bills other ways. So at this point, it's, if we can do it, we should do it. And I'm still sending out packages. I've got one I have to get out tomorrow that I will talk about in another video. I won't talk about it in this one, but I made a big sale. So anyway, so this leaves an opening. However, again, if you're quarantined and you're waiting for some test results, or someone that lives in your household is positive, please do not send out packages right now. Just wait a little bit. So anyway, so on to the list of things I have, and I wrote them down because I get distracted easily, as you may have figured out. I have puzzles, board games, Legos, Matchbox cars, game systems, outdoor gear, camo clothing, hunting, fishing gear, any kind of clothes having to do with that, fishing lures, anything for grills and outdoor cooking. I've noticed that gardening books and Depression era cookbooks and things like that are just flying out people's stores. So if you've got anything like that, or you've got access to things like that, turn those around and sell them. If that's your bag, if that's what you're into. Pajamas. Yeah, everybody right now. Most of us are living in our pajamas. So provide some pajamas. Jeans, I've noticed now is a good time for clothing, strangely enough. I'm not doing so great on Poshmark right now, but I've noticed that the other outlets where I'm selling are doing pretty well with clothing. Uh, my sweatshirts, especially sweatshirts and t-shirts and like team gear and things like that, seem to be getting a lot of interest right now. So, you know, things like that. Golf clubs, you know, tennis clubs, anything that's coming up this summer, things that people are looking forward to doing this summer when perhaps we can get back out and get back at this. Um, let's see, I've got cameras and camera equipment. Anything, I already mentioned that anything cooking related, but that goes for pots and pans, I've noticed as well. Pots and pans, bread machines, bread cooking cookbooks that are about bread. There have been so many things come across my screen today talking about different recipes for things. And I know there's a lot of available items online through Facebook and things like that, but I've noticed people actually looking to buy those items so they have them on hand because maybe they're worried about this happening again. So, and then that leads us to you know, all of you are probably referring to the crazy preppers. They're now the normal people. So anything having to do with off-grid living, prepping, ham radios and ham radio parts, anything like that, all of those things are going to sell well. Anything having to do with installing solar power to where you're at, anything having to do, it's just anything with off-grid living, how to create, there's a book somewhere, I forgot the name of it right now, but there's a great book that talks about how to create a root cellar. And that's actually that kind of thing, those things that people can kind of still get outside their homes to do, but they don't know how. Those things are selling well and will sell well, I think, for the right now. So let's see, I also have computer parts and components. Right now, a lot of people are stuck at home, especially teenagers playing games and wanting to build computers, young adults wanting to build computers. And I've noticed that all of those things having to do with building computers and computer parts are all doing pretty well. Also tied to that is anything that helps one work from home. So if you happen to have the lights, sun lights, you know, the vitamin D lights, and that's a little bit separate, but you know, people are stuck inside. It may just stuck in my head, but also the lights that work well, don't give you eye strain when you're doing a lot of computer work. Anything that will help you work from home, you know, those kind of things are just selling really well because so many people right now are forced to work from home. Anything having to do with kids, projects, or just any stage too, right? Like I was struggling the first several days trying to figure out this balance of helping my toddler and making sure that he is learning and still having a good time because, you know, he's not getting out to see his friends, to see his school, to see his relatives, and it's really starting to wear on him. And when it wears on him, of course, it wears on us. So, you know, so anything like that, anything that kids can do, anything to engage them. And these don't have to be high dollar things, obviously. Please don't raise your prices just because, you know, the world's over a barrel right now. Like that's not a cool move. But these kind of things are the things that people will turn to. So if you see this, and I hope you do, please feel free to comment in the comment section and tell me either if you're a reseller, what's been selling for you, things that I may not have mentioned. And if you're not a reseller and you're just an average Joe and you've noticed some things that you don't have at home that you would like access to, maybe you could post something that you'd really like if you saw for sale to give some of the resellers ideas of things that they may already have in stock and just haven't listed. They can get to it quicker to help you out. Because I know a lot of us have, you know, we've got our money piles, we've got to work our way through, and we're trying to pick and choose what, you know, how to get fast to what things to list next. So anyway, So that's the right now video. And there are a ton more things. Like I said, I gave this about an hour and compiled the list based on things that I had been just reading over the last 72 hours or so, as well as things that I know are selling for me. And one or two other folks locally that I've seen that have commented about, you know, they're selling this, or they have this, or they're looking for this because one of the people that repeat buys from them is looking for it. So anyway, so those are my suggestions, my list. Please add more in the comments. And if you liked this at all, you know, give it a like, give it a share. Maybe, you know, click my subscribe button and get me 1 or 2 more subscribers, so I'm not just telling my sister I love her every video. So thank you and have a great day. Try to be safe, everybody.